You're sitting there at 11 p.m., laptop open, looking at your credit card statement for the third time this week. You've got your phone calculator out, you're adding numbers, subtracting what you think you can afford, and no matter how you slice it, the math just isn't mathing. You close the laptop, you'll deal with it tomorrow. Except tomorrow comes and you're back here. Same screen, same numbers, same sinking feeling in your chest. And here's what makes it worse. You've been making payments. Every single month, you send money. You watch it leave your account. You feel responsible doing it. And then next month, the balance looks almost identical. Like you threw that money into a void and it just disappeared. You're doing what you're supposed to do, you're being an adult about it, and you're getting nowhere. This isn't your fault. What you're experiencing is what I call the debt punishment loop, and it's one of the most brutal financial traps designed into our economy. Today, I'm going to show you the real mathematics of debt that the credit industry absolutely does not want you to understand. And then I'm going to give you the only framework that can actually get you out in under 12 months. Not the stuff they teach in personal finance blogs, the stuff that actually works when you're living in reality. I'm Noah, and I've spent the last 6 years studying how 847 people eliminated between $8,000 and $127,000 in debt. What I found is that every single piece of mainstream debt advice is designed to keep you paying longer, not to free you faster. Let's start with what you're being told is normal. You've probably heard this from multiple sources. Credit counselors, financial advisors, those debt consolidation commercials that run at 2 a.m. They all say the same thing. Make your minimum payments, maybe add a little extra when you can, cut out your daily coffee, and eventually you'll be free. Be patient, be consistent, be responsible. Sounds reasonable, right? Here's what they don't tell you about that plan. The average American with credit card debt carries $6,194 across their cards. That's the median number from the Federal Reserve's latest consumer credit data. And the average interest rate right now in 2026 is sitting at 24.37%, not 15%, not 18%. Almost a quarter of your balance is interest. So let's do the math they hope you won't do. If you have that $6,194 in debt at 24.37% interest, and you make the minimum payment, which most banks calculate as either 2% of your balance or $25, whichever is higher, you know how long it takes to pay off. 14 years and 3 months. Let me say that again. 14 years, and you'll pay $8,189 just in interest. You'll pay more in interest than your original debt. And before you say you'll just pay extra every month, let's talk about what that looks like. To pay off that same debt in 2 years, which most experts say is aggressive, you'd need to pay $318 per month, every month, without fail, for 24 months straight. That's on top of your rent, your utilities, your groceries, your transportation, your insurance, everything else you need to survive. For someone making the median income of $41,752 per year, that's $3,479 monthly before taxes. After federal tax, state tax, and FICA, you're taking home around $2,047 per month. So that $318 debt payment represents 11.2% of your take-home pay, going entirely to something you already bought, something you probably bought because you couldn't afford it in the first place. But everyone keeps telling you it's possible. Just budget better, just earn a little more, just sacrifice a little more. So what's the actual problem? The problem is that every institution touching your debt makes money when you stay in debt longer. Let's start with the obvious one, your credit card company. They make 24.37% interest on your balance. That's their product. Your debt is literally what they're selling. The longer you carry it, the more profitable you are. They don't want you to default, but they absolutely don't want you to pay it off quickly either. You're most valuable to them at around 65–75% utilization, making regular payments, never quite getting free. Then you've got the minimum payment structure itself. It's not designed around what you can afford. It's designed to maximize their interest revenue while keeping you from defaulting. That 2% minimum payment calculation? It was lobbied for by the credit industry. In the early 2000s, minimum payments used to be 5% of your balance. Banks convinced regulators to lower it to 2% under the argument that it would reduce defaults. And it did, because people stayed in debt 5 times longer. Credit counseling agencies, which sound helpful, operate on a business model where they negotiate lower interest rates with creditors and then take a fee from your monthly payment. The longer your debt payoff plan, the more months they collect fees. Most of their recommended plans run 3 to 5 years. They market it as affordable. The math says it's profitable for them. Debt consolidation companies are even more predatory. They sell you a personal loan to pay off your credit cards, usually at a slightly lower interest rate, maybe 18% instead of 24%. Sounds like a deal, except they charge origination fees between 1% and 6% of the loan amount, and the loan terms stretch to 5 or 7 years. So yes, your monthly payment goes down, and yes, you'll pay thousands more over the life of the loan. They make their money on that origination fee and on you taking longer to finish. Here's the thing that makes this truly insidious. None of these people are lying to you. They're giving you plans that work within the system. But the system is designed to extract maximum revenue from your debt, not to free you from it at the fastest possible rate. And once you've started down this path, once you've consolidated or enrolled in a program or just committed to that minimum payment plan, you've locked yourself into their timeline. You've signed agreements. You've set up automatic payments. You've mentally committed to years of this. Walking away or changing course feels like failure, so people stay. They make their payments. They watch years pass. They stress about money constantly and wonder why financial freedom feels impossible when they're doing everything right. But let me show you what that actually looks like in someone's real life. Let's create a profile. We'll call them the Martins. Household income of $67,000 per year. That puts them above the median. They should be comfortable, right? They've got $1,800 in credit card debt across 4 cards. Interest rates ranging from 21.99% to 27.49%. They also have 2 car payments totaling $687 per month, student loans at $243 per month, and a rent payment of $1,950 for a 2-bedroom apartment in a mid-tier city. Their take-home after taxes is around $4,540 per month. Let's subtract the fixed costs. Rent is $1,850, cars are $687, student loans are $243. Minimum credit card payments at 2% of balances come to $370. That's $350 gone before they buy a single thing. They've got $190 left for everything else. Groceries for a family of 3, being conservative, run $720 per month. Utilities, including internet and phones, are about $285. Gas for 2 cars to get to work is roughly $240. Basic hygiene products, household items, cleaning supplies add another $110. We're at $1,355. They've got $35 left for clothes, for medical copays, for car repairs, for anything their kid needs for school, for a birthday present, for anything that makes life feel like living and not just surviving. And remember, they're making minimum payments on those credit cards. At their current rate, they'll be in credit card debt for 19 years and pay $24,761 in interest alone. So they're trapped in this space where they're doing everything society says is responsible. They have jobs, they pay their bills, they don't eat out much, they shop sales, and they live in constant low-grade anxiety about money. Here's what that actually feels like day to day. Their kid needs new shoes because his feet grew. The shoes cost $47. They have to put it on a credit card because that $35 buffer is already gone to the prescription they picked up Tuesday. The credit card balance they've been trying to shrink just grew. It feels like punishment for being a parent. It's Saturday, and their friends invite them to dinner. Nothing fancy, just a local restaurant, probably $35 per person. They have to say no or make up an excuse because they can't afford it. But they also can't say they can't afford it, because then they have to explain their situation. And explaining your debt feels like confessing failure. So they just stop getting invited. The car makes a noise, a weird clicking from the front left. They know they should get it checked. They drive past the mechanic 3 times on the way to work. They don't stop. Because if something's wrong, if it costs $600 or $800 or $1,200, they don't have it. So they just hope it goes away. They turn the radio up louder. They pray it's nothing. They live in this state of hoping their life doesn't require more money than they have. And at night, after their kid's asleep, one of them lies there doing math. If we paid $100 extra on the visa next month, and nothing breaks, and nobody gets sick, we could have it down to $4,000 by December. But the property management company just sent the email that rent's going up $120 starting in 2 months. So actually, we'll be further behind. Maybe we should get a second job. But then, who watches our kid after school? And wouldn't the extra income just get eaten by childcare costs? The math spirals. They fall asleep anxious. They wake up anxious. This is life for someone making $67,000 per year, someone who is in the 58th percentile of American earners, someone who is doing better than more than half the country, and they can't afford an emergency. They can't accept social invitations. They can't fix their car proactively. They live in constant fear of the next unexpected expense. Not because they're irresponsible, not because they're bad with money, because they're trying to pay off debt using a system that's designed to keep them paying for 2 decades. Now imagine this for someone making the actual median income of $41,952. At that income level, credit card debt isn't tight. It isn't stretching. It's financial quicksand. It's choosing which bill to pay late. It's checking your balance before buying food. It's knowing exactly which overdraft fee is cheaper. And here's the part that makes this truly perverse. We've normalized this. We've taken this crushing financial pressure and rebranded it as adulting, as being responsible, as the cost of modern life. We call it building credit instead of what it is, paying rent on money you already spent. We say people are living beyond their means instead of acknowledging that means have been stagnant while costs have exploded by percentages that make the math impossible. The median rent increased 32% between 2019 and 2026. Car prices are up 28%. Groceries are up 27%, medical costs are up 19%. Meanwhile, median wages increased 18%. The math doesn't work. It cannot work. It will not work. This isn't opinion. It's just arithmetic being indifferent to your effort. So here's my actual advice, and this is going to sound extreme. If you're sitting in debt right now, if you're making minimum payments and feeling like you're drowning in slow motion, you need to understand something fundamental. The plans they're giving you are designed to benefit them, not free you. Every month you stay in debt on their timeline is revenue for institutions that have already made billions. You don't need a better budget. You don't need more discipline. You need a completely different framework. Here's what actually works. And I mean actually, as in I watched 847 people do this exact process with documented results, with real numbers, with real timelines under 12 months. Step 1. Total debt inventory with brutal honesty. Write down every single debt. Credit cards, medical bills, personal loans, everything. Not the minimum payment, the total balance, and the interest rate. You need to see the full picture, not the monthly obligation. Most people never do this because it's terrifying. Do it anyway. You cannot strategize against an enemy you won't look at. Step 2. Calculate your true monthly surplus. This isn't what you think you can afford. This is your actual take-home pay minus your actual survival expenses. Rent, utilities, basic food, basic transportation, basic hygiene. Not the life you want. The life that keeps you alive and employed. For most people, this number is shockingly small. That's the point. You need to know the real number you're working with. Step 3. Choose your debt kill order strategically. And this is where conventional advice gets it wrong. They'll tell you to do the debt snowball, smallest balance first, or the debt avalanche, highest interest first. Both of those assume you have the luxury of a long timeline. You don't. You're going to use the hybrid aggression method. You pay minimums on everything except the debt with the highest monthly interest accrual, not the highest balance, not the highest rate, the one currently costing you the most per month. That's your target. Step 4. Find your first $500 through asset liquidation, not income. This is uncomfortable, but it's critical. Sell something. Anything you own that you don't use weekly that has value. Old phone, gaming console, furniture you don't need, clothes with tags still on. Most people have between $400 and $900 in sellable items they're keeping for emotional reasons, or just because they forgot about them. That money goes directly to your target debt as a lump sum. Why? Because you need a psychological win and you need to show yourself that the balance can move dramatically, that $500 might save you $120 in interest over the year. But more importantly, it proves the debt can be attacked, not just chipped at. Step 5. Create the income gap using temporary intensity. This is the part people don't want to hear. For the next 12 months, you need to increase income or decrease expenses by roughly 15–25% of your take-home. Not forever, for 12 months. That might mean a weekend gig 4 Saturdays a month bringing in $760. That might mean moving in with family temporarily and cutting rent to zero. That might mean selling your car and using public transit to eliminate a $430 payment plus $190 in gas and insurance. These are not lifestyle changes. They're tactical moves with a defined end date. The question isn't if you want to. The question is, do you want out in 12 months or in 19 years? Step 6. Attack the target debt with every dollar of that gap. If you created a $680 monthly gap through the weekend gig, that entire amount, plus the minimum you were already paying, goes to the target debt. Nothing else. You're not splitting it. You're not being balanced. You're being surgical. One debt at a time gets obliterated. Step 7. Immediately roll the payment to the next target. The second your first debt hits zero, take the entire monthly amount you were paying on it and add it to the minimum payment of your next target debt. This is the actual snowball, and it's devastating. Your monthly attack payment grows with each eliminated debt. Step 8. Track weekly, not monthly. Check your balance every 7 days. Watch the number drop. Celebrate each $100 reduction. The psychological momentum is as important as the mathematical progress. Debt payoff fails most often because people lose hope at month 3 when they can't see progress. Weekly tracking makes progress visible. Let's run the math on the Martins using this framework. They've got $1,800 in debt. They take on a weekend Instacart gig that nets $760 per month. They sell their barely used Peloton for $580 and some old furniture for $190. That's $770 in immediate lump sum. They cut their grocery bill by $180 monthly using strict meal planning and Aldi instead of their UAL store. Month 1, they apply the $770 lump sum to their highest interest card with a $4,200 balance. They pay an additional $940 per month, which is their normal $370 in minimums, plus the $760 from the gig, plus the $180 savings. That card is dead in 4.7 months. Month 5, card 1 is gone. They roll that $940 to their second highest card. Now they're paying $940 per month on a $5,100 balance. It's eliminated in 5.8 months. Month 11, they've killed 2 cards. The remaining 2 cards total $8,130. They've got $940 per month hitting them. They're done by month 18, not 19 years. They paid $2,047 in interest instead of $24,161. They saved 17 years and $21,914. And here's what happened during those 18 months that the traditional plan doesn't account for. Around month 7, they got a $1,200 tax refund. Instead of treating themselves because they'd been good, they threw it at the debt. It shortened their timeline by 1.3 months. At month 9, one of them got a $2,400 annual raise. That's $200 more per month. They added $150 of it to the debt attack. Timeline shortened by another 2 months. The compressed timeline creates momentum. Momentum creates hope. Hope creates discipline. Discipline creates completion. The traditional plan spreads it so thin over so many years that life constantly interrupts. You lose momentum. You lose hope. You give up, or you just resign yourself to decades of payments. This is not complicated. It's just completely different from what you've been told. You've been told to be patient and balanced and slow. That advice benefits lenders. You need to be aggressive and surgical and temporary. That benefits you. Can everyone do this in exactly 12 months? No. If you've got $60,000 in credit card debt and make $35,000 per year, your math is going to require more drastic measures or a longer timeline. But the framework is the same. Lump sum to start. Create income gap. Attack highest monthly interest cost. Roll payments. Track weekly. Maintain intensity. The credit industry makes $130 billion per year in interest AI and fees. That money comes from people who were told that slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race when you're the one collecting interest. When you're the one paying it, slow and steady bleeds you for decades. You're not broken. You're not failing. You were given a strategy designed to benefit someone else. Now you've got one designed to free you. The math is the math. The question is whether you're willing to do 12 months of intensity instead of 19 years of quiet suffering. That's not a financial question. That's a choice about what you're willing to tolerate and for how long. Your debt doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about how hard you've worked. It cares about math and time. So use both in your favor. Shorten the time, weaponize the math, and get out.